Alrighty. Hopefully you guys can see and hear me pretty well. Again, it's Rashida from Love It or Leave It podcast, which is on the YouTube channel Astrofluent Culture 8888. Again, that's at Astrofluent Culture 8888, where my sister Chi Chi and I delve into topics such as spirituality, hot topics, pop culture, as well as healing work, self-healing. I know right now she's working on some vlogging, and then I'm also on my side of town on this channel, Love It or Leave It _Rashida 888. I am working on doing my own vlogging and just doing my own personal, sharing my own personal journey with you guys. So please like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're liking what you're seeing on the channel so far. I'm somebody who does not like gatekeeping, so I like to share news if I've found something that was helpful for me on my journey, and through the work that I do. I just want to share it with everybody. So that's just my own thing, because I really like to just educate people so that we don't stay in the dark about stuff. So today I was just doing some spiritual work, did some meditation, did some shadow work, and I was like, I felt called to come on and share some shadow work that I've been doing. So just to give you guys a little bit of a background on my spiritual journey, if you haven't seen my other videos, I started my spiritual journey back in February of 2021. When I started it, at that time, I was dating someone, and I had been married before, and I shared that in the past as well. So I was with my ex-husband for a total of 13 years. So that includes our dating life as well as married life. And while we separated physically from one another in 2019, our divorce wasn't finalized until 21 due to COVID and all the courts being delayed and everything. So, but I did start dating someone, and even though I thought I was working on my healing by attending therapy, I wasn't really truly doing the work that I needed to do, which was shadow work, like deep shadow work. To really like track my patterns of behaviors and why did I start doing this? Why did I believe this? Why was I operating from this space? So I did not do that. And I'm not ashamed to say that, though, as a mental health professional, because oftentimes, listen, a lot of I don't want to say my specific colleagues, but I'll just say colleagues in the mental health field in general. Some of us don't promote doing that deep inner child healing. And it's really something that is groundbreaking for someone who really wants a breakthrough and wants to stop dead in the tracks those old behaviors, those patterns of operating that you're used to, those paradigms that you're used to functioning under, because all of those things come from childhood trauma. And I don't want to say everything has to be so traumatic, right? But certainly it's an imprint. However you were raised, the environment, the rulership, dictatorship, if you will, that your parents or parental figures raised you under, created a consciousness that you operate under. And so that shapes how you interact with other people in your everyday life, and also how you interact as if you are a parent. So how you interact as a parent, how you interact as a partner / spouse to someone, and then also how you, interact with the world overall. And so for me, it was not until I started my spiritual journey back in 2021, even though I had started therapy back in I want to say 2017, 2018, at the tail end of the marriage. And then, after it dissolved, when we separated and then divorced, I did start therapy of my own at that point, but I certainly was not doing the really deep healing work that I needed to do at the time. And so something that has been very instrumental for me, I want to share it with you guys. It was this book. This is the Shadow Work Journal. And again, I don't get paid for none of this stuff, okay? I don't even know who this author is, but her name is Kiela Shaheen. I think I'm saying it right, but I'm going to be honest. I found this book on TikTok initially. And it actually wasn't this revised version. It was the original version. And so this was a couple of years ago that I found the original version on TikTok, ordered it, started doing some of the journal promptings in that book, but then had to donate that book to a friend of mine. And so I got another book and I was like, oh my God, the revised version is even better than the original. I didn't even know that there was a revised version. So I really like this shadow work journal because not only does it explain what the shadow is, and I'm just gonna, I didn't really want it to be a lesson, but y'all know it just be, listen, when I when I feel called to do something, I really just do it. And again, citing the author, and I will put I got this book from Barnes and Noble online. I ordered it and then it was shipped to my home. So if you want to order the Shadow Work book journal as well, you can. I ordered it through Barnes and Noble the second time around. I was a little bit leery, no disrespect to TikTok, but I was a little bit leery of ordering something again on TikTok, considering how the ban and all that was about to come about. And I didn't know if I was going to get the book. So I just didn't go back to TikTok to order it, but thank goodness it was available on Barnes & Noble, and I got a better version. So, but I wanted to read a quick excerpt about like why shadow work is important. Why shadow work is important. This is on page 4, and it's part 1, shadow work introduction. There are many benefits to shadow work. Your pains and triggers can be guides to help you understand what you deeply care about, bringing you closer to your life purpose. Conversely, you will come to identify toxic patterns in your life and change them completely. Another benefit of shadow work is that you will develop more courage and confidence to face the unknown and embody your whole self. You will develop deeper love, acceptance, and understanding of yourself, which helps improve your relationships with others. Practicing shadow work helps you separate from your egotistical thoughts and will increase your empathy and compassion for others. Compassion, in turn, helps exercise other forms of positive emotions like gratitude, which can better your mental and physical health. Failure to face and deal with the shadow elements can be the seed of adversities and prejudice between unrepresented groups or individuals, and can trigger anything from a small argument to a major war. Recognizing shadow elements is an integral part of becoming a compassionate and reasonable individual. And this work is by Carl Jung. So Carl Jung, he was actually under Sigmund Freud, kind of like an understudy, and he did a lot of his work under Sigmund Freud, and then he developed what we now know as shadow work, and he defined what the shadow was. But I just wanted to at least share why it's important for us to do shadow work, because those elements within ourselves that we don't even understand, that were shaped so early on in our development, and then we went on to just interact with with everybody that we came across with these shadow elements of ourselves, like being envious, being jealous, being mistrusting of people, insecure, that angry part of you that rears its head when you feel like, don't try me. that is your shadow popping out, and wanting to be heard, wanting to be acknowledged. But also, it is for you and your higher self to quell those shadow elements, or at least channel that um, anger, hostility, whatever have you, in a way that is productive and in a way that is healthy for you and whoever else is coming in contact with you. So I had to do some shadow work today. And we don't always understand like why we may feel triggered by something. And I didn't understand why I felt triggered by something today until I tapped in and did some shadow work, because I was like, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like this? And the thing about it is, like, I'm someone who, I'm coming on here because I like to share information, I like to share knowledge, and I love sharing stuff, especially with people I love and care about. And I, was sharing something with someone, and at that moment, it wasn't called for, it wasn't appropriate, because it was something totally different going on with them, and I internalized it. Like, well, well, I'm sharing something that could be helpful. Like, girl, read the room. And so that is something that I have to do. Like, even as a helping professional, I have to understand what someone is going through, what information that may be helpful to them in that moment, and then what can I just um withhold so that they just feel heard. Maybe they just want to feel like they have a sounding board that they can express their emotions and their feelings and their thoughts without someone trying to fix them right there in the moment, because sometimes it's really just about getting out how you're feeling, what you're going through, exhaling, and then moving on, you know. But as a helping professional, I definitely want to be like the fixer. Like, how can I help? How can I help? And so I had to, check myself, and be like, listen, girl, not the time and the place, and not the, not appropriate in that moment. So anyhow, one of the exercises that I did today, and I kind of like, I remix what I do as far as shadow work. Like, this journal may prompt me to do a specific task, right? A journal prompting task. But I will kind of remix it um to get a little bit more out. So that I can keep going deeper, keep going a little bit deeper, so that I'm getting to the root of the issue. And so an exercise that I think may be helpful if you are currently working on some shadow work, I did a journal entry, and I started with the emotion. So, like, how was I feeling? What emotions were coming up? A sadness, frustration, discontentedness, inferiority, irritability. Those kind of emotions were coming up for me in that moment earlier today. And then you kind of you spelled out, well, what happened? What was the thing? What was the event that happened that caused these emotions to come up, right? So we call those triggers, right? When an emotion is elicited from an action. And then we talk about pain points. So again, what happened? What were the emotions that came up? And what are those pain points associated with those emotions from this specific event that happened? So you go dig a little deeper, and you're like, I said, well, I was feeling like nothing I did was appreciated, that I wasn't acknowledged, and that there wasn't a sense of gratitude. So I had to go deeper and say, why did I feel these things? And what are those pain points for me that made me feel like that, right? And then I listed a common theme. So common theme for me is validation. So, and this is after doing shadow works over the last a couple of years. So I began to know, like, what are my common themes that I feel when, or that are impacted by how I'm feeling in a specific moment, right? So one of the common things for me is validation, like uh, feeling like I'm acknowledged by my loved ones, right? But we know that validation comes from early childhood neglect, unfortunately. And of course, I'm not going to get into deep, that's something that, I would have to um, extrapolate, and I don't want to go there too deep on this venue for that. But then we go into the why, right? So again, the why is a part of what I already said, right? Early childhood memories of neglect. And then another subset I put in under this shadow work exercise was, what was my desired outcome, right? So what did I actually want to happen in this moment? I wanted the person to validate, right? Validate that what I shared with them was helpful, right? I wanted them to be appreciative, but I also wanted to feel appreciated, okay? And so then the deeper you go into it, the more you're like, oh my gosh, do I really need all of that? This was not about me, right? But it's still good to acknowledge how you feel, right? You have to get it all out so you can get to the bottom of it, so you can kill the ego. Like, that's the whole point of doing shadow work. And I don't want to say kill the ego, because the ego doesn't completely die, but we die to those egotistical parts of ourselves when we're doing shadow work, so that it becomes less and less and less about us, and more and more and more about being compassionate, having humanity. Having compassion and care and empathy for humanity, and just all around doing God's work, right? So shadow work is meant to really quell those really nasty parts of the ego. Um, and then I put a section of, what does my shadow want to say? So giving your shadow a name would be awesome. To personify your shadow and acknowledge your shadow, because your shadow, just like your ego, wants to protect you. Your ego is all about survival. What is important for you to keep your base level of homeostasis, right? What is important so that you can survive in a cruel world. Let's be real, right? So the shadow, but personifying your shadow acknowledges your shadow, and it gives space for your shadow and allows your shadow to know that you acknowledge your shadow parts, and that you're not ashamed of that person, right? That shadow aspect. My shadow's name is Kiana Jade, but when she wants to turn up, it's Kiki, okay? Kiki just be wanting to turn up, and Kiki got a lot to say. But I also know that I can't take Kiki, and I got this from Wall Street Trapper. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but I cannot take Kiki to the meeting table with me to make the decision. But I can take her with me to at least show my prowess, show my strength, show that I'm not to be played with. And then I'm going to tell Kiki, chill when it comes to making business decisions. Okay? So your shadow is an important aspect of yourself that helps to protect you. And you want to give credit to your shadow, but you don't want your shadow out here just running wild. Okay? So again, in this journaling exercise, I allow the shadow, what does my shadow want to say? And she went off. Okay? And then I went into, okay, now that we got all of that out, what do I know that can shift my perspective? So what is it that I know about that situation? Well, in that situation, it wasn't appropriate for me to, say, oh, this could be helpful, that could be helpful, this could be helpful, when all the person needed was just a place to vent and be safe and feel heard, feel safe, and love. That was it. So I had to list, okay, this is what's going on in this situation. These are the things that I know what to do and what not to do, and how I can, not take things so personally. Everything is not about me. It's really not. But this book, again, the Shadow Work Journal by Kiela Shaheen, was really helpful for me, and it allowed me to do a journal prompting, but I put my own little spin on it to like expand it a little bit further than what the actual journal entry does. Because I like my book, I'm just the Virgo in me, okay? So I am, and again, if you are not into astrology, and you don't believe in any of that, just at least if you can hear the messaging behind what I'm getting ready to say, as opposed to looking at it from an astrological standpoint. But I have to point this out. So I am a Virgo sun, a rising Virgo, so that makes me a double Virgo. And then I have a Capricorn moon. So I am someone who, I don't like being in the spotlight. I don't like the attention to be on me. I am hardworking though. And I want to be more of a helpmate to somebody versus me being at the forefront. But as I came on my spiritual journey, God had other plans. And I just noticed, like, when it comes to this field and field of just public speaking, helping others, even if we are, right, a sun sign of Virgo, who likes to stay in the shadows, like, I could be the camera woman. I don't have to be in front of the camera. When you're on the journey, you realize that God chooses people who really don't want to do that part of it, like being in front of the camera, to actually be in front of the camera. And I, just from my own understanding, it's because if you really truly want to just be in front of the camera, you're not going to be doing God's work. And that's what I've been called to do. And so my thing is about helping other people, because that is what I've been called to do. So I had to push myself beyond my comfort zone to be in front of the camera, in front of you guys, and just keep pushing, because I'm that Virgo side of me, of being a hard worker. I'm going to keep push, pushing myself beyond the limits of my comfort zone, of being on this camera and posting videos every day, even though it's like, not gonna lie, even with me bringing out the book, my book, which, hold on one second, I'm gonna get it, since we're promoting things today, right? But my book, Love's Art, which, if this is your first time, sorry for the noises, if this is your first time seeing me at all, this again was a labor of love that I completed. I started it 3 years ago, and just released this on January 15th, an ebook version, and then January 16th in paperback version. But coming out with these projects and doing things in front of the camera, coming out of my comfort zone, is really, just pushing me to do more, to speak to everyone, to reach more people, because I am doing God's work right now. So today's lesson was shadow work, and giving a shout out to this author who I don't personally know, but this is a really good book that I've started my shadow work in a couple of years ago, and then just kind of giving you guys some tips on maybe how you can possibly start your shadow work and the kind of things that you would want to put in your prompting writings. But this book, they actually have an app, okay, that you can download in your app store. And I don't know about the Android stuff. I think that's Google Play. So correct me if I'm wrong. I apologize if I'm saying it wrong. But for iPhone, it's in the App Store as well. And you can download the app and do your promptings and do check-ins on there. And I actually used it too. So I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. So that's something that is new. To my knowledge, it's new. Like, I didn't know that when I had the book a couple of years ago when I got it, but I did learn about it when I got this revised version. And the app to download is free. Now, I think there's a version where you can, I think it has like in-app purchases where you can get more exclusive information and material. But I don't know too much about that. I just have the free version, and you can do like a daily check-in. You can put how you're feeling, your emotions, and then anything that may have triggered you, anything that you did to help yourself. So for me, I did my journal writing and I meditated. So that's what I did to help myself today. And I feel so much better. I probably look very, very tired because let me tell you, I was like, when I went into meditation, it was a deep meditation. So there were some points where I felt like I drifted off so far that it felt like I was in dreamland. But anyway, so I thought that this would be helpful for everybody. Hopefully it is, and hopefully you get used to me rambling. It's just me getting through the nerves of recording stuff. So, because I'm just really not used to doing this. But I love you guys so much. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment. Comment feedback. If you need any clarifying questions answered, I will certainly do that and respond to the comments. Or if you have any feedback for me, just to say what you're looking for from this channel. Again, it's going to be about spirituality, the book writing process, as well as just like the therapy part. Like, I want to make sure that I get to tell you about the mental health stuff so that I can help people out there as well. It'll be kind of like getting free therapy. But don't call me a therapist, because that's liability. Okay. But I want to preface it with saying more like tips. But certainly if you need a mental health professional, call 988. That is the national number that you can call to get help for local resources in your community. Yes, it is the UWI Side Hotline. I know we can't say that word. It is the UWI Side Hotline number, but also you can talk to someone about getting resources in your community for mental health professionals. There's also probono.com, where you can find free therapists as well. If you don't have any insurance, there is Psychology Today. So if you are insured but you don't have a therapist and you want to read some bios on some therapists, you can certainly check out Psychology Today to check to see if those providers that you identify are accepting new patients. And they have so much information on there about like, they allow you to filter it by the kind of insurance that you have, the kind of therapy that you want to engage in, and then the age group that you are, the sex of the provider, if you have a preference for that. So yeah, so lots of information on there. So I'll put those links in the description as well, so that you can, look further into those resources that I talked about. So again, love you all, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Again, another shout out to my sister Chi Chi, who is doing her thing over on Astro Fluent Culture 8888. And much love and respect to you guys. Till next time, bye.